Hey there, I'm Ton Vin, and this is Seattle Eats. The holidays are here. It's time for dinner parties and delicious food. My holiday tip, stock up on great wines, people. They're perfect as a host gift or to drink yourself. And if you want the best deal on good wine, head to Costco. Today, I'll tell you about the best white, red, and sparkling wine with help from my friend and local sommelier, Owen Bargreen. And all our picks are under $20. Plus, did you know you can bring your own wine to restaurants? Yeah, really. We'll talk about this loophole that saves you money. But first, let's take a field trip to everyone's favorite wholesale store. I am at Costco in Soto, Seattle, collecting wines for our annual Costco holiday wine review. I'm going to make my way through the aisle, see what bottles are available. Excuse me. I think it's pretty much well accepted within the wine community and the savvy Costco shoppers that if you want Costco wine, the two best places are the Soto location and the Issaquah location, where the inventory is a bit larger. And I see about 5 to 6 reds. I see a Columbia Valley red, which is always a winner in years past. It's for $16.99. Napa Valley Cab will range anywhere from $60 to $100. But Costco carries 3 Napa Valley Reds under the Kirkland brand for around $20, which even for Costco is obscenely cheap. You won't see a lot of special Costco white wine releases during the winter, the colder months. The exception is the Chablis, and that's the one that every wine shoppers and savvy customers seek. And I'm walking through the aisle, and I see Costco has sold out of the Costco Chablis. The popular Prosecco is here, $7.69. Always a favorite here, but really the better bottle for my money, and every year really, when it's available, is the Prosecco Rosé for $7.99. It's always a steal. And I will grab one. Who am I kidding? I'm gonna grab 2 of the Prosecco Rosé. I think that should do it. Got about 20 bottles for this year's tasting, and a couple of bottles for myself. I'm in the studio with a few bottles of great wine and Owen Bargreen. He's a level 2 sommelier and a Costco wine connoisseur. Every year, we taste about 20 wines from Costco and review them in the Seattle Times. Today, we have picked out 3 favorite bottles, and we're going to taste them and tell you why they work. Hey, Owen. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, good to see you, buddy.
You sample 5,000 wines every year. Where does Costco rank?
Well, I mean, it's got some really great values in its portfolio, right? Let's look at this the Prosecco we tasted. $7.99. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And wine that's comparable is probably twice the price. When you look at the overall lineup that Kirkland Signature has, their Old World wines seem to be better overall in terms of value, in terms of overall quality, and the lack of misses, like total misses on that part.
What are some of the Old World wines that you love in this year's tasting?
I mean, we both love these Rhone wines, right?
Oh, yeah.
Both from 22. 22 seems to be a pretty good vintage in that area, and they were both like just killer values. The Gigon d'As was $13.99. The Côte de Rhône Village is under $8 and 90 points for my palate. That just really exudes value.
Yeah, I look at Costco wine as a 2-tier system. You have the Costco wines that are $10 and under, and that's what most people gravitate towards. And then you have the $10 to $20 price range. And what we have found, Owen, is that the $10 to $20 wines are much better, right? And even when it's bad, you can't really complain. And it was funny because we debated on one wine, and that was a Pinot Grigio for $4.99. For $4.99.
Right.
And as you were saying, you say, You can't get a tall latte for $4.99. And yet we debated, and for me, that was one of the worst wines in our tasting. And then it just hit me. It's like, why are we spending this much time talking about bottles $4.99?
Because
it's not offensive.
It's not offensive. It was, as I wrote in my notes, it was devoid of flavor and character at all. But it did have some typicity from the region. And like, if you want to serve this wine at a wedding on a hot summer day, like, it's totally fine.
All right, Owen, it's show and tell time. Let's talk about the best sparkling wine, the best white wine, the best red wine. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So we have a couple wines to taste today, which is really exciting. And the first one we're going to do is the non-vintage Kirkland Signature Brut Champagne. So I'm going to open this. Pop this sucker. Pour a little bit.
Oh, and we're going to finish this bottle right here.
Right here, right now.
When do I get to drink in the office like this?
So yeah, this is at $19.99. I mean, we were talking about this for a long time. Like, when can you find champagne for $19.99? You tell me.
Only in Costco can they pull off a good champagne for $19.99 because the economic math of this does not work.
Yeah.
You can't get a bottle of champagne. Forget good champagne, any champagne for $19.99. And that's the magic of Costco. To me, if you're a wine drinker or you love champagne, this champagne alone is worth a Costco membership.
Yeah, I think if we were in France, we could potentially find champagne for this price. But, when you think about import tax and all this other crap that we have to do, bringing wines over and the cost of the shipment, to actually like buy this at a store for $19.99 is just such a steal, honestly.
Yeah. So take us through this tasting.
One thing you notice when you taste a wine is it's got this really nice sense of salinity, and then it's got kind of like classic green apple character from non-vintage champagne often has this kind of like tart character. You could say like green apple, also some citrus. Yeah, the mousse, which is kind of how the bubbles attach to your tongue, is quite pleasant. It's not, again, this is nothing like gripping or complex. We're not sitting here like popping Cristal, right? Mm-hmm. I actually had Cristal last night.
Oh,
I know. Don't hate me. But it's a very palatable wine. Is this a really like nuanced, like delicious champagne, like that's crazy complex or whatever? Are you going to impress anybody with it? I don't think so. That's not the point. The point is you go to Costco and grab it for $20.
Yeah. And I would say I've had champagne for around the $35 range, and they're not as good as this. This is much better.
And it also is such a match for a range of foods, right?
I think champagne goes well with pho, the Vietnamese noodle soup.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a quick story. I had one of the worst pho I ever had. No, let me back up. I had the worst pho I ever had like 2 years ago.
Wow.
And so I couldn't finish it, so I took it home. And it just sat in my fridge a couple of days, and then one night I had nothing to eat. But I always have champagne. And you know what? I paired it with the champagne, and it was delicious.
Wow.
It really cut into all the like beef fattiness of it, and it pairs well with the sweetness of the broth and cuts into the ginger and the Asian herbs. That said, I was really mad because it tasted so good because it robbed me of my indignation. Because that pho was so bad, It did not deserve to be in the same sentence as champagne. But damn it, it really worked.
It's a magical wine because it pairs with so many foods. I mean, it's one of my favorite pairings for champagne is sushi. Like even something like this would be really nice because it's very delicate. It's nondescript. The wine is not going to stand out. And sushi is such a beautiful, delicate food that a wine like this would go really well with like a range of, sushi choices.
Yeah. This is the magic of Costco because you just can't beat this price. I mean, you might love another bottle, but it'll be 3 times as much. Yeah. So is that 3 times better than this?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Owen, one of the things I learned from you is the etiquette of popping a champagne. Because I think we've seen too many Hollywood movies where you shake the bottle or you pop it really loud. But it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. When you order champagne at a restaurant, it's supposed to be served to you very quietly. It takes a little bit of time to get used to opening that. One thing is temperature is really important. If you open a champagne bottle and it's too warm, then it's going to be difficult to have it not make noise. This bottle was really cold, so it was fairly easy to open without a lot of noise. But I did do a little pop because I wanted to make sure that people could hear. But
Now, Owen, tell listeners out there how, if you want to muffle a champagne, how would you do that?
you would practice. Yeah. When I did my level 2 somm, it just takes time. You have to kind of rock it back and forth and be really gentle.
Great. That was a champagne, which you can always find at Costco for $19.99. Owen, what's next for show and tell?
This is a 2022 Chablis, which Chablis is the region in Burgundy. It's known for its chalky soils or limestone-rich soils that also usually have a high deposit of diatomaceous earth or seashells. These were ancient seabeds once. And so this wine is a premier cru from that region, from the Chablis region, meaning that it's pretty top vineyards. So the only thing better would be a Grand Cru site. And there are only a few Grand Cru sites in Chablis. So basically, looking at this label, it says Chablis Premier Cru. It basically means that it's coming from pretty top vineyards in Chablis. I'm going to open it now.
I thought this was the strongest white in our tasting. I don't think this vintage was as good as last year. I thought easily this was the strongest white in our tasting and the highest white in our tasting.
Yeah, it was. It was, for me, the best white we tasted. You know, in terms of how I scored the wines, it wasn't that far off of the champagne. I scored this one 91 points.
Take us through the tasting notes here, Owen.
Yeah, sure. So one thing I like about this wine is Chablis has a limestone chalky character that runs through the core of the wine, and it also has very classic notes of like crushed seashell or oyster shell. When you smell the wine, it really does evoke a nice seashell character.
I think it goes great with sushi, this wine.
Yeah, this would go really well with sushi for sure, and just loads of shellfish. Has really nice body and freshness.
I'm getting a lot of that flinty clay.
Yeah, the flinty character is really nice. A little bit of like oyster shell, I would say, and then quite a bit of citrus zest, maybe some melon fruits. It's really nice wine. Like we were talking about earlier, this could easily go for $40 or $50 if we bought it at a store.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the same thing we said about champagne and also earlier, and that is a lot of the Costco whites are under $10, and that's what people gravitates towards. But this is one of the few Costco whites that's $18.99. I would say it's the most expensive Costco whites. But I would buy this. I would buy this rather than 2 whites at Costco or Sauvignon Blanc at Costco for $7 to $8. I would serve this on a date. I would serve this at a party. I wouldn't be embarrassed to do that. I think it's very elegant.
Yeah.
So that was a Chablis, $18.99 at Costco. Last time I checked, it sold out in Seattle, but there were still bottles left in Issaquah. And I would say Issaquah has the best selection of Costco wine for people out there. So, Owen, what's next on our show and tell?
Yeah, the last one we have is one that is just consistently an awesome value, right? The Kirkland Signature Malbec, which comes from Argentina. So this wine comes from the 22 vintage. It's 100% Malbec wine from Mendoza, which is a really mountainous region in Argentina that's best known for Malbec wines.
And it's $6.99.
Yeah, it's just a sick pricing. I mean, for the overall quality of the wine, right?
Yeah.
I want to say, too, that this wine is made at a fairly well-known winery. It's made at the Brokel Winery with their winemaker, Sergio Case. You look at this wine, the label doesn't say anything, but it's actually got like a pretty good pedigree behind it, like the winemaking team and like the facility and stuff like that. So the wine is really nicely colored. It's very inky in the glass. Nice pepper and chocolate, kind of classic Malbec character here on the nose.
I'm getting a lot of luscious
Yeah.
blue and blackberries and dark fruit.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've got.
A lot of cracked black peppers for sure. It's delicious.
The wine's well structured. It's got good body. It's got good typicity in terms of like what Malbec tastes like. Really nice texture. When you like add up all these factors, you would expect to pay at least twice the price, I think.
I would say a little more in the United States, Owen. And the problem with one of these the tasting is our highest rated reds, especially, are usually sold out within days. And we always get complaints from readers. But I can tell you this is easily, readily available, and it's only $6.99. And you can buy cases of this.
Yeah, you were saying that this wine just doesn't sell. It just like sits on the shelf, which is crazy.
It just collects dust. And I don't understand. Is it Malbec? It's not maybe a familiar household name like a Cab
I think it's because we're homers. I think it's like it's very well known that Washington wine buyers prefer to buy Washington wine. And that's a huge reason why this Malbec just sits on the shelf.
Yeah. And you know what? This would be great with cheese. And not that Costco is a sponsor, but this is great with like blue cheese or manchego.
Yeah.
I think some of the big cheese is delicious.
I'm going like another direction, like juicy burger or like a big steak, because it's got so much richness and good freshness as well.
I'll throw a wild pairing at you. Yeah. I hate Italian-American food. I hate pasta that's like drowning in sauce or cheese. But with this Malbec, that would work for me. I think this is great with like heavy, creamy sauce, pasta or spaghetti.
I'm not getting that, but that's why everyone has their own palate, man. I would say if it's an Italian dish for me, it would be something really fatty in terms of the meat character. This does have a little bit of a meaty character.
Very savory. I would say it's very savory.
Yeah. So I would go like, you could do like maybe something like a rich porchetta or something that's got a lot of fat. That the fat will connect with the richness and the finesse of this wine.
Yeah. Owen, as I'm swirling this, it's good now, but if you air this out for another hour or two, I think it would be even better.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely throw this in a decanter. Decanter is a way to kind of open up the wine by giving it air. So over time, the wine changes and it basically becomes smoother and more complex the more air it gets. This is a 22 Malbec. It's a pretty young wine, so it wouldn't hurt to throw it in a decanter for an hour. The sommelier community generally feels like most wine should be decanted. It's like, why not? Why would you not decant this wine? Why would you not decant the Chablis? Will they get remarkably better and be transformed into mesmerizing wine? No, they won't. But they'll be served, at their peak if you give them a little time in the decanter. If you have time to do that. If you don't have time to do that, no worries.
That was the Malbec, readily available at all the Costco. Owen, if people want to bring a Costco wine to a party, what should they get?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it depends on your budget, right? Like, to some people, buying a $19.99 champagne is like a big deal, and to others, it's really like nothing. So it totally depends. I mean, for my palate, like if I want to like go to a party and have something fun and lively, it's 100% the champagne out of this tasting. Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's a winner. Even if you don't like the taste of wine, this champagne goes down easy with that Jolly Rancher-like green apple taste. It doesn't have that barnyard funk of some of the complex bubbles. I think the Malbec is more complex. Not everyone's going to like it. It's kind of boozy.
Yeah.
And the Chablis, it has that...
It's more geeky. You know, it's like not a crowd pleaser.
Yeah. And the champagne, you're right. It's very mainstream.
It's not offensive. It's a total crowd pleaser. People are going to like this wine. And it's always fun to pop bubbles at a party. Just make sure it's not too warm. It's going to go all over the place if you pop it like right out of Costco. It has to be chilled first.
Well, cheers, Owen. We're going to finish this champagne bottle right here.
Yeah, buddy. That sounds great.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, if you have some nice bottles of wine, you're going to want to hear my tip of the week. I'll talk about how you can enjoy them at your favorite restaurant for just a few bucks. Stick around. It's time for Tip of the Week. Seattle Eats producer Claire McGrain is here. Hi, Claire.
Hello, Ton. How are you?
I'm good. What do you want to talk about today?
So we're going to talk about something related to wine that you have brought up to me before, and it is called corkage at fancy restaurants. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it is if you have a fancy wine, so like I got married this summer, I was gifted some really nice bottles of wine. Instead of popping it open at home, you can take it to a restaurant. They'll let you like BYOB, basically, and they just charge you a fee to pop it open and serve it to you at your table. Did I get that right?
That's exactly right, Claire. I couldn't explain it better myself. So instead of paying for the restaurant's wine, a nice bottle could run you $200 or more. You bring in your own bottle, and they'll just charge you a $25 corkage fee. The stipulation around Seattle and pretty much around the West Coast is you can only bring 2 bottles. That's the maximum. The first bottle, the going rate is $25. And if you bring a second bottle, it is usually $45 to $50. Okay. And the other stipulation is it cannot be a bottle of wine that they already have on the menu. So, Claire, if you got a bottle of Dom Perignon that was gifted to you and they have Dom Perignon on the menu, you're out of luck. You can't open that bottle. You got to pay the full price for that Dom Perignon.
And so I'm hearing you say things like $200 for a bottle of wine. I'm guessing this is mostly a thing at fancy restaurants, right? And if I go into a restaurant that I might go to just like on a weekend casually, it might not be a thing they do. But if I go to like a special occasion restaurant, this is more likely to be an option.
Claire, I don't know any restaurants that sit down that doesn't have this corkage fee. It's not just fancy restaurants. It's in the middle of the road restaurants. They will let you. I don't know any restaurant that doesn't allow you to bring your own wine. The reason why people don't know about this is because usually it's not advertised. If it is advertised, it's in very small print and it's at the very end of the wine menu where it will say corkage fee is $25. And even then, people don't know what that means.
Exactly. Like, I would have no idea if I saw that on a menu.
Yeah. You would never guess in a million years who has the best corkage fee. The best. It's like, I could give you 100 guesses and you would never guess it.
Okay, so it's not my first guess, which is Canlis.
Oh, you guessed it.
Oh, dang it.
That's amazing. Yes. You know why? Because Canlis is considered our classiest restaurant. It's considered a high-end restaurant. I'm so impressed, Claire. I'm so impressed. And to the listeners out there, I did not give her the answer ahead of time.
This was not planned. I'm just that smart.
At Canlis, they charge you $10 a person to open your bottle. I know Canlis is expensive for dinner, but this is how, if you are on a budget and you're trying to save money, you can bring your own bottle at Canlis. Another place that has a good rate or a good deal is called Mainstay Provision in West Woodland, a neighborhood that we've talked about a couple of times. Their corkage fee is only $7. They just have a coffee house / cafe, but they have a bottle shop. So you can bring your own bottle and they'll open it, but they have a really great and affordable selection of Bordeaux and Cave and sparkling wine for $20 or less. So if you're on a budget date night, buy a bottle in their bottle shop and it'll cost you around $20, $25 and have dinner there. They have pizza. For lunch, they have a grilled cheese sandwich, which is great with wine. I would say that and Canlis are the 2 best deals when it comes to corkage fee.
Okay, Tan, you just said a lot of very interesting things. The one I want to go back to is grilled cheese sandwich great with wine. Say more, because that doesn't sound right to me.
Oh, it's so buttery and it's so rich. Oh, like a cava, just any sparkling wine, it would go great.
Okay, I'll trust you on that one. This sounds like a really good deal, like a too good to be true deal, almost.
Right. So guess who hates this most? It's the restaurants who actually offer this deal. They lose money when you bring a bottle. That's why this is such a controversial policy. Because when you buy wine, champagne and red wine especially, they make hundreds of dollars off from you. That's where they make the most money. So if you bring your own bottle and all they charge you is $25, they are losing a lot of money. Is that wild?
So why do they have it? Like, what do they possibly gain out of this?
The reason why they have it is because, think about this, who drinks wine? There are wine collectors, wine connoisseurs, and these people are, well, let's face it, they're rich. They have money to burn. So you want these diners because they don't care about the price of your menu, what's on the menu, because they're the big spenders. You want them to come back again and again. You want them to be regulars. So the people who are wine connoisseurs, chances are you might not have a wine that they like. So you want to give them the option of bringing their own wine. I'll give you 2 examples. I have a acquaintance named Bill. He collects Burgundy. He loves Burgundy wine. And these bottles cost anywhere from $500 to $1,000, if not more. And that's what he pays. So God knows, what the markup would be in a restaurant. And restaurants don't have a lot of these bottles because not a lot of people order them.
They're like really niche. Yeah.
Restaurants want people like him who will spend the money because, hey, if he can afford those bottles, then he's going to order a lot of food or what have you. Another example, Owen, who did the Costco wine review. He loves Mexican food, spicy food, and he likes to pair with champagne. Well,
wait.
Right?
I'm not down for this pairing. I just need to go on record. That doesn't sound appealing to me.
And guess what Mexican restaurants don't have? They don't have champagne usually. Yeah. So it's made for them. It was never meant for what I think restaurants would say are the cheapskates and the miser.
The me and right? You.
People who restaurant would say are trying to game the system at a time right now when it's very sensitive and they're barely breaking even. They're trying to keep their doors open for people to come in and just bring their own bottle instead of paying full price. So that's why it's so controversial.
At the same time, as someone who isn't dropping $1,000 on a bottle of wine for fun, I do have really nice wine, like I said, that people gifted me. So I can imagine my husband and I going out for an anniversary dinner, like spending a little extra for a special occasion and wanting to drink one of these bottles, not just because it's like on the higher end, but also because it's sentimental. It was given to us by a friend or a family member.
I think that's a good way of looking at it. It's a special occasion. Restaurants understand. It's when people take advantage of the loophole as a way to save money is when you have tension between customers and business owners. And I know restaurants out there, restaurant owners are just steaming now. They're so mad that I'm mentioning this loophole, this secret loophole. But you know what? Don't hate the player. Hate the game.
Read the fine print in the menu is what I learned today. Thank you, Ton.
Thanks, Claire. That's a wrap. A reminder that we have a list of best Costco wines in the notes of this episode. Seattle Eats is a production of the Seattle Times and KUOW, part of the NPR network. You can support Seattle Eats by investing in the local newsroom and the specialized beats that make this sort of storytelling possible. Please consider joining and subscribing at kuow.org/eats and seattletimes.com. Seattle Eats is produced by Claire McGrain and edited by Jim Gates and Trevor Lensmeyer. I'm Ton Ben. We're taking a break for the holiday season, and we will see you again in 2025. Pop that Costco champagne, people.